Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort.
I got it coming up.
Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. For this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. And thank you for joining us here on this beautiful day at Unity the virtual Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco. I am so glad that you're here. We're also live streaming on Facebook, and no matter where you are or how you're joining us, I'm so glad that you have decided to be in community with us today. It's always great to see you. I keep my eyes on. Oh, look at that, was so nice. I saw Josephine and Ruben greet me as I'm scrolling down to see who's here, and I will do that periodically. Just wonderful to see your faces, and I want you to know that I do keep all of you in my prayers, and I look forward to the time when we'll be able to meet in person safely. So I want to mention a couple of things. One thing to note is that if we have to stop the service for any reason whatsoever, just give it a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then come back using the same link that you used to get here in the first place. Also note that you're being put on mute as you join our service, and we do that so you don't have to worry about your background noise, but there'll be two instances when we make an exception for that, and one is when I ask for a volunteer to read the daily word. I will ask you to indicate that by waving at the cam or putting it in the chat, and I'll call on you so you can read that aloud. And another time is during our prayer portion of the service, when I ask if anyone has a prayer request that they'd like to share out loud. And at that time, we'll take you off mute so you can do that, and we can support you in prayer. But for now, just take a deep breath wherever you are. I think a lot of us have been holding our breath for a long time. I'm aware that I've been breathing deeply in the last 24 hours. And this is a time where you can really relax and breathe deeply and just rest in the presence of God as we go within our inner sanctuary right now, where we are always safe and guided and protected. So just let go of any worries or concerns that you might have, and join with us virtually and connect with the God of your understanding. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we celebrate the truth that our God is love, as expressed in Unity's foundation statement, which you're invited to repeat with me. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. So take another deep breath now. Again, become comfortable and gently release any cares of the day, because the only thing that you need to do in this hour is to open yourself up to the love and goodness of the divine as you relax into the sacred time and virtual space of Unity Spiritual Center. For almost 75 years now, we at Unity Spiritual Center have celebrated and honored people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. Seeing through eyes of oneness and acknowledging our oneness, we know that God indwells all people and is expressed through each of us in unique, special, and individual ways. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And I am going to light the worship candle now, which we light every Sunday, to give you a visual aid, that as you see the flame of that candle, you remember that you have a divine flame, that you are a divine flame, an individualized spark of God, and that God does God's work in the world through the movements of your heart and your hands. And I think that we have great work, or as John Lewis called it, good work ahead of us. So let us remember that we do each have that flame, and that as this election showed us, each one of us is needed. We have a part to play. So, our vision at Unity Spiritual Center and the opportunity for you and for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself. We sometimes forget that. So, joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others. That you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do. And most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. So let us pause now to enjoy some wonderful music played by our music director extraordinaire, Michael Hadfield.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my prayers over the mountains. I send my prayers over the sea. I send my prayers into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send compassion over the mountains. I send compassion over the sea. I send compassion into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my prayers into the heavens, and it returns to me.
That was beautiful. Let's give Michael some love for that beautiful rendition of that song. That was really lovely, Michael. Thank you. So, as we continue to get comfortable and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let's open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. I want to see if there's anybody who would like to read it aloud for us. I'm scrolling down, so if you would like to read it, just indicate that by waving to me in your webcam or putting something in the chat. And I may have to call. Oh, Ron, excellent. Thank you. Today's daily word will be read by Ron Willis. Thank you, Ron.
Healing. I embrace the healing flow of divine life. If my body experiences any kind of health challenge, I turn within to release all fear and all concern as I affirm that illness is not part of my true identity. I remember that wholeness is my birthright as a spiritual being. I surrender any anxiety as I fill my consciousness with healing thoughts. My mind's eye sees each cell of my body aglow with the energy of divine life. In prayer, I express appreciation for all of my body's marvelous functions. I commit to taking time to bless my body with rest, exercise, and good nutrition. I speak affirming words of truth to encourage my body's healing response. I give thanks for the healing that I know is already on its way. I am grateful to receive healing and know wholeness. And the scripture reading is from John 10:10. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly.
Thank you so much, Ron, for reading that for us today. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. And we always invite you to share your prayer requests with us if you would like support with them. And you're able to do that during this time of sheltering in place by emailing us, emailing me, leaving a message on our phone, which is secure, or of course using snail mail. So Gerry, if you can just put that, and he's done that fantastic, put that contact information in the chat. Please use that to reach out if you would like some prayer support. But this is the time to make our prayers audible. And if you do have a prayer request that you would like to share with us, please indicate that again by waving in the webcam or putting it in the chat. I want to mention that Leslie had some wonderful news regarding our beloved Maddie, and that is that she has recovered from COVID and her newest test was negative. So we are overjoyed to hear that news. Leslie, thank you so much for sharing it. And we do affirm that Maddie is returning to and expressing full divine health and life in her beautiful body. We just love both of you so much. So if you would like to share a prayer request, please do that now. I see one from Kira, and our dear Kira. We have elders in the community, and we have, what would they be? There needs to be a dignified word other than youth, but Kira is perhaps our youngest congregant joining us here today, and she is asking for prayers for Jody, that Jody's body be without pain. So as we hear these prayer requests, let us sort of hold them in our hearts by singing the words from our prayer song, Your Prayer is My Prayer Too.
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too.
So I see that Shirley Harris is asking for prayers for her godson, Mark, that his surgery is successful.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Joni is asking for prayers to be given divine guidance on whether or not to look for a place to live in San Francisco or to move to San Anselmo.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Valerie is asking for prayers for safe travel for Michael and her as they go to Baltimore next week.
Your prayer is our prayer too.
And Rosa is asking for prayers for her friend Alan Mills, who was recently diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Kathy is asking for prayers for her beloved daughter Lisa for a wonderful path ahead and all good things in her life.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Shania is asking for prayers for our political leaders.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Mary is asking for prayer for compassion, prayers for compassion for those who are experiencing fear in our country while others of us rejoice, that we may see them through God's divine eyes and an openness to hearing their concerns and affecting to connect for the sake of unity.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Marcy is asking for prayers that the transition of power occurs efficiently, effectively, and gracefully. Let the new leadership begin to assemble their teams that can quickly activate change and that we can transform this country into the nation it is meant to be, a model of love and respect for all nations. May God bless this nation and heal us from injustice and the pandemic.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Kathy asking for prayers for our new president-elect, for health and strength to lead our country in a positive and compassionate direction.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And I'm going to scroll down and see if there are any other prayers. Oh, Juanita, is that you holding up your hand? So,
Yes. This
yeah, go ahead.
this morning I spoke with our church member Norma Hall, and she's asking for prayers for her well-being, and she is sad that she can't be with us at this time, but she loved you all. And I need healing prayers for a friend of mine in Sacramento after major surgery. Her name is Marche.
Thank
Let the
you.
healing begin.
Let the healing begin. Thank you,
Your
Juanita.
prayer is my prayer too.
And Brock is asking for prayers that everyone here today on Zoom feel and experience the love and blessings of our support, community, and friendship. Beautiful prayer.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And any other prayers that wish to be expressed right now? As you know, we also have a time in our service where we express gratitude things that we're thankful for or feel blessed by. So this is your time to share that now if you'd like your community to celebrate with you. And Marcy is grateful that our citizens exercised their right to vote and the people spoke. God bless America, and we like your background, Marcy, which says it all. So we celebrate with you for sure. Any other celebrations, things that you feel grateful for that you want to share? Mary is so grateful for the gift of abundantly good health. Anything else? Ruben.
I'm thankful for good air and water.
Anything else? Judy. Judy is actually, we've got a bunch here. Joni is grateful to God that He protected her from COVID when her roommate tested positive. We remember when you were talking about that, Joni, and we are so grateful to hear that news. Thank you for letting us know. Judy is grateful to be here celebrating with all of us on this historic time for our country. Shirley is so grateful that our better angels prevailed during this election. Terry is expressing gratitude for God's love. Susan is grateful for her son, whose 53rd birthday was Thursday. Beautiful things to be grateful for.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the knowledge that when we ask, it will be given to us. When we seek, we will find. When we knock, the door will be opened to us. We give thanks for the feelings of peace and comfort and connection and hope that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our state, our nation, our world. And we affirm that always and in all ways, even when it seems darkest, even when circumstances or appearances seem very challenging indeed, we can trust, we can know that divine love and divine order is everywhere present. And so it is. Thank you, God.
If you're lost and wandering through a forest dark and deep, if you're tired and weary and desperate for some sleep, every step you take may seem further from your goal. You might even question the direction of your soul. If you choose to follow through and create your fate, you must believe you will receive a message on that date. Life may be a mystery and quite a wild ride. All the twists and turns there are yours for you to decide. Well, you can walk around the world and soon be home again. It's just fine if where you end is the same as you begin. Although your path is different and to some seems rather odd, you will soon discover another road to God. I have often found myself searching for a clue. I was sure there was a plan God had for me to do. I listened for a whisper and I searched for a sign. It took some time for me to find the decision was all mine. So I carved a trail where none had gone before, and I began my journey as I walked out of the door. I thought that I would be alone and friendless on this trip. Then I found familiar faces all aboard my ship. Well, you can walk around the world and soon be home again. It's just fine if where you end is the same as you begin. Although your path is different and to some it seems rather odd, you will soon discover another road to God. But you can walk around the world and soon be home again. It's just fine if where you end is the same as you begin. Although your path is different and to some seems rather odd, you will soon discover another road to God. Better get out the map.
Thank you so much, Michael, for another wonderful song. Excellent. Always excellent. And now it is my great joy to formally or informally, as the case may be, introduce to you our speaker for today, who is well known to all of you. He really needs no introduction. You know it's time for him to speak when he wears his bow tie. So I see that bow tie and I am really excited to hear what Gerry has to say, because I know it's going to be a wonderful message for today. So with no further ado, there is Gerry.
Well, thank you. Yes, the bow tie is on, so we know what that means. Before I begin the lesson, I just want to warn you about something. I had to come up with a theme before Tuesday, and we all know what happened Tuesday. And so I had to sort of dig around a little, and I ended up writing this long before we knew what was going to happen. So there's really no reference to the election in my lesson. So if you're expecting one, or if you're expecting erudite comments about what just happened this week, well, first off, maybe you shouldn't expect erudition from me. And secondly, this time around, it was too soon. So, but don't worry, in the meditation, we deal with the election. So hang on. So ever since I was young, I have loved maps. I enjoy looking at them. I like planning trips on them. I like finding different routes and places. When I was young, I would trace where I've gone and trips that I've taken, see where I am, and find out where I could go and how I could get there. I even used to write away for maps from the different states. They used to do that back then. And I am and have long been, without a doubt, a map nerd. I've owned more than one atlas in my life, and I'm pretty certain my love of travel is inextricably linked to this love of maps. Or is it vice versa? Of course, now paper maps are out, and we have maps on our phones and tablets, and who needs a map with GPS, but I sort of miss them. My dad drove for a living for much of my younger life, and he instilled in the four of us, of his offspring, the ability to read maps. In fact, I was shocked when, as a young adult, I met somebody who didn't know how to read a map. I thought it was a built-in ability that each of us had, like breathing, something innate. But I guess not. And don't worry if you're not one of those who can read a map, I don't think any less of you. I like diversity even when it comes to reading maps and map reading abilities. My love of maps led me to a sport in college called orienteering, which is using a map to create your own race course across the terrain of a countryside, usually out in the woods. There is no set course like on a track or in a marathon, but the contestants figure out the best way to make it from one point to another using topographical maps. It is a is it quicker to go from one checkpoint to the next by running over a hill or around it? It's really a good sport for a map nerd, and it was my one and only try at the world of participatory sports. The danger of orienteering is not thinking you're in the place where you think you are. Then anything can happen. Now, of course, maps sometimes do fail us. There was a time in Italy when my husband Alan and I were getting a van full of people to the Campo di Miracoli in Pisa, where the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa is located. Alan was driving and I was navigating in the passenger seat. Behind us were 7 anticipatory people looking forward to visiting this famous landmark. Unfortunately, the map we had was at best sketchy, and the signposts of Italy were even sketchier, and if you can believe it, in Italian, which didn't help any. We, for a good amount of time, were quite lost in a city where we didn't speak the language. We drove around Pisa to sections that I'm sure were nowhere near to the Leaning Tower. At one point, I recall we drove down a one-way street, the wrong way, of course. Eventually, I don't know how, we found our way to the Campo di Miracoli, and there was some palpable relief in the van. It was a Miracoli in and of itself, but it was an adventure without a doubt. Now, most instances of getting lost are indeed like the escapade we had in Pisa, or some of my less spectacular abilities in orienteering. They're exciting moments that make a good story, but not something you really want to go through all that often. But in the midst of the lostness, we feel some panic, perhaps, a bit of despair, a question of whether we'll ever get to where we're going or want to be. Being lost means we can't locate ourselves on a map or in space. Which way do we turn? How do we get there from here? We don't always speak the local language, so we can't even ask directions. And even if we could, we probably wouldn't understand the directions once imparted to us. Being lost is very disorienting. Which way is what? It's very anxiety producing, much like this past week was. We felt lost and not sure where we were going for many days. Few people have been so lost, though, that they don't make it back. There are some cases, of course, of being so lost that one is never found. And in these tragic instances, it is a sad occurrence of such disorientation that there is no hope. But eventually, most of us get righted when lost, and even if we don't find our way to our destination, like Michael just sang, at least we sometimes find a way back to where we started. Now, I've been talking about being physically, geographically lost so far, but the same applies in the spiritual realm. Have you ever felt spiritually lost? Have you ever lost your way in your faith journey? Have you ever felt like you're in a place where they're speaking a different spiritual language than you are, and you have no way to get where you want to go? You're spiritually disoriented, turned around, and not certain where you're going. The language around you seems foreign and the landscape is unknown. There's not even an opportunity sometimes to turn back to your starting point. That's how spiritually lost you are. We go through periods of being lost in our faith and spirituality. It's only natural. There are times of disbelief, despair, and disillusionment. If you experience that, don't feel badly. You're not alone. You're in good company. And in fact, being in company is the best thing we can do when we're lost. Being in the company of other faithful, spiritual folks. Now, most of us don't like to admit we're lost, though. We keep it to ourselves. We make everything look fine on the outside, belying our fear, distress, and sometimes utter terror on the inside. Being spiritually lost can feel like disconnection from God. We yearn for God, but we don't know which way is up, so we are unable to find God in our lives. But there are gifts to being lost. Yes. The struggle to find ourselves and our location leads to a stronger faith and a better sense of self, I think. And when lost, we have to rely on others, which is what community is all about. We gain a better sense of who can and will help us in our faith journey when we're lost. And the best gift about getting lost is the fact that God knows exactly where we are all the time, the whole time. Even though we feel disconnected and separated from God, God is never removed from us. It's all in our perception. Now, that's not to say that the perception of being lost and separated from God isn't very real and very frightening. But if we can stop for a moment in our wayward journey, look around and calm ourselves, perhaps with a few deep breaths, we'll find that God is right there with us. The community that surrounds us will sustain us through these periods if we let them. People for centuries have been marking paths for others with cairns, piles of rock that point the way from one place to another for those who are on the journey behind them. Adding a stone to a cairn is allowing those who come behind to find their way on the path. And for those of us who are lost, we follow these cairns, these markers along the way, to return us to a sense of equilibrium. We do have to trust the path of those who have gone before, as difficult as that may be at times. We begin with trust, though, and move into direction and a sense of who and where we are. From one of Silent Unity's prayer services, there are some apt words that I found. Now, to those who attend the noontime meditation times online on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and sure, that's an ad to join us. It may sound familiar. One section of the prayer time goes like this. The road ahead may be unseen, but I walk by faith and not by sight. Easily I breathe, trusting in every ordered step forward. By the perceiving power of faith, I never have to submit to worry. Instead, I perceive the underlying and pervasive presence of God, of good, as I take my next step forward. I walk by faith. End quote. There are many things to get to where you're going. Look at any map, and you'll discover options and possibilities galore. We can take a well-trod path or create a new trail, but we travel with God at our side. And we trek with a great cloud of witnesses, many who are around us right now, surrounding us, urging us on, calling us out of confusion, indicating our way. Even when lost, we can hold on to an unseen hand and allow it to guide us. There's another prayer that I'd like to close with today that is a favorite of mine. It was written by the great brother and mystic, Thomas Merton. I learned it at the church where I did my field education in Boston many, many years ago, and I have kept it with me all these years. It speaks of being lost and uncertainty in our faith journey. The prayer goes like this, quote, My Lord God, I have no idea where I am going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end. Nor do I really know myself, and the fact that I think I am following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you, and I hope I have that desire in all that I am doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may never know anything about it. Therefore will I trust you always, though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death. I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone. And so it is, my friends. Amen. And now for the meditation, I invite you to lean back, relax, take a few deep breaths like Reverend Maggie talked about earlier. Just breathe in deeply, hold it for a moment, and let it go. And take another deep breath. Hold it for a moment, and in your own time, let it go. And finally, take one more deep, deep breath. Hold it, and let it go. Today, for our meditation, I'm going to read a poem. It's a prayer and a poem for post-election. And it was written by Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, who was himself a candidate for the presidency at one point. It's called A Desire for Civic Alchemy. And if you remember, alchemy is the ancient science of trying to turn lead into gold and other metals into precious metals. Listen to these words by Senator Booker. After the election, may we seek to practice civic alchemy. May we turn battleground into common ground, swing states into United States, and turn the hubris of competing certainties into the humility of cooperating countrywomen and men. After this election, let us be civic alchemists. Let us turn an inability to hear one another into a determination to listen without prejudice, without fear, with a courageous empathy. After this election, let us engage in civic alchemy. Let us work to turn the lie of separation into the truth of interconnection, interdependence, of one nation indivisible. After this election, let us together turn entrenched animosity into elevated love, clenched fists into outstretched hands, red and blue into us, beautiful, incredible, hopeful, helpful, united civic alchemists. Now I invite you to take another deep breath. A deep breath in which the cares and tensions of the past week are released. And take another deep breath where your worry and desire for things to come out in a better way for this country, go away for just a moment. And finally, take another third deep breath and exhale, releasing, letting go, and promising to be a civic alchemist during this time. I invite you, if you haven't already done so, to open your eyes and to come back to the place where you are, surrounded by a community that cares and loves you. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Gerry. That was wonderful. And I am so happy to hear the prayer for civic alchemy from Cory Booker. I've never heard that before, and that's really wonderful and exactly what we needed to hear today. So thank you so much for that. Also want to thank Marcy for her wonderful slides that worked with Reverend Gerry's theme on maps. I thought that was really fun to see all the different kinds of maps that Marcy picked to go along with that topic. And I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes from Hafiz, which I've thought of many times because it reminded me of how I found my way to Unity Spiritual Center. And the quote is, "The place that you find yourself, God circled on a map for you." So it seems to go along with what you are saying. And now it's our time to, as a community, talk about who we are and what we want to be. So I'm going to put the gallery on so I can see everybody's face and we can say this together. And I always love to scroll down to Juanita because she was instrumental in our tagline. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we are an ocean of love. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. So please join with me in saying them together. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled, spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we're about to experience in our hospitality hour. Let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. And at this time, I'd like to find Ruben, who had requested that I see you. Excellent. I'm going to make you a spotlight here. Ruben had requested to share something before we actually take the offering. So Ruben, you are now on Spotlight and it is all yours.
Thank you, Reverend Maggie, for the time. I can start the day worried about my ability to get out of bed and to put my abilities to focus. Yet as I continue through my day, I find some of life's challenges to be more daunting. On other days, I begin with intention. I wake up, read my daily word, look up the scripture passage in the Bible. I read miracles for inspiration. I meditate for 20 minutes to be still and listen to the divine. I then go about the day, whether it is at my computer or at the washing machine. With this intention, I'm better able to let challenges be and find peace and good. When given to you, I with intention. The intention of keeping our community alive. 4 years ago, I was in the need of a place of worship. The word I had read decades before, I decided to try Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco. In the 4 years since, I have found a place that my wife, my children, and I could grow spiritually. We have found friends that are kind, joyful, and loving. Therefore, I attend on Sunday with the intention of supporting this positive community. We give so that Unity can grow and share its message. I ask you to give to our ocean of love. Let's keep our doors open wide. Make it possible to keep this community together with your giving on Sundays. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That was beautiful, Ruben. If my little reaction button included the prayers, I would do that right now, but instead I'm going to give you a big heart. I sure appreciate your big heart and Josephine's and your boys, and we're so thrilled that you're a part of our community, and thank you for your desire to say that. That was very special. And I'll just add that both Terry, who spoke last week, and Ruben, who just spoke, offered their testimony to me. And if any of you out there would also like to do that, would like to share something before our offertory, please let me know, and we'll make sure that you have time to do that. And Judy is saying that she'd like to get the link for donating online. So it looks like Gerry just put that up. So as Michael sings another wonderful song, please do take that time to write out a check to USC or to use the link that Gerry just put in the chat to donate online. As you know, or if you don't, I'll state it pretty clearly. Even though we're not meeting in person, we have the same expenses basically, and we really do count on your support as we attempt to stay connected during this time. So let's take a moment now to bless our tithes and our love offerings. You can put them in your hands or next to your heart, either literally or metaphorically, as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Well, if I'm here, so is God. If you're here, so is God. If we're here, so is God. God is everywhere, man. God is everywhere. Well, I've been kicking around this life for nigh on 66 years. I swear it's been one heck of a ride. I think I've conquered all my fears. And someone asked if I could sing a religious song or two. That's when I realized this life takes more than one man can do. And they told me if I'm here, so is God. If you're here, so is God. If we're here, so is God. God is everywhere, man. God is everywhere. God explained to me that God was in everything I touched. That if God had found a way to find me, but did it matter that much? I got handed a mirror, told to take a look. I wondered what it was about. They said the face you see is the face of God, struggling to get out. And they told me if I'm here, so is God. If you're here, so is God. If we're here, so is God. God is everywhere, man. God is everywhere. Well, I thank my friends for all their help, and I set out on my way. And I thank the Lord for giving me life every single day. But the thought still dwells upon my mind as I say my little prayer. If I didn't know now what I didn't know, then God would still find a way to care. And they say that I'm here, so is God. If you're here, so is God. If we're here, so is God. God is everywhere, man. God is everywhere.
Thank you, Michael. And we wish you a wonderful trip next week. We'll miss you, but we affirm that you're going to have a wonderful, safe trip visiting your family back east. So please join with me in saying our Thanksgiving and blessing our offering together. And I am just scrolling up here. Spirit of the living God, bless the acts of our hands, our minds, our hearts. May everything offered here at Unity Spiritual Center be a reflection of all that is good within us. Grant us the courage to patiently listen for the stirring of your presence. Enliven our spirits with humor. Fill us with reverence for one another and gratitude for our diversity. May unity, beauty, and truth be the fruit of all we do. And so it is. Amen. So a few announcements, actually maybe a little bit more than a few, but they're all good and they're all important. As you know, if you've been here before, we do have our Zoom hospitality meeting directly after this service. We'll take a 3-minute break so you can grab a cup of coffee or something to eat and then join us. No need to do anything, but just keep the link up and we will start that about 3 minutes after we finish. We are doing a couple of things as the holidays grow closer. One is that I do want to mention is that Terry Wade has very graciously offered to lead us in a 5-week class on prosperity using the book of that was done by a well-known Unity minister, Edwina Gaines. It's called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, I believe. And that class is going to start this coming Tuesday. It's going to go for an hour and a half. It'll be 6:30 to 8. And all you have to do is come back on this link. So we're now shifting to putting everything that we do back on this link. If you'd like to join Terry for that wonderful book study Tuesday night at 6:30 for 5 weeks. And we sure appreciate Terry's desire to do that. We also have a birthday coming up. If you read the e-zine, you saw that our elder, and I liked Ron suggested younger for how we refer to our youngest congregant, but our elder, Mike Nucalo, is having his 94th birthday actually, I think it's next week, but it's the 14th of November. So if you want to send him a card, which would be a lovely thing to do, just a reminder to get that in the mail this week. I am going to be doing a soul collage workshop on Saturdays. It's going to be 2 Saturdays, December 5th and December 12th. I want to introduce this wonderful art technique that is a very spiritual one to my community here, and I may open it up to the public. We're going to be looking at the 4 themes of Advent and working with them in collage form. So if you're interested, let me know. I'll also be giving you more information as that draws closer. Looks like Terry put info about the class in the chat. That's fantastic. And last but not least, I want to give the floor to Kathy Russell, who is doing a fun raffle for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to remove my spotlight here and see if I can find Kathy. There you go. I see you. So Kathy, if you want to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about the raffle, that'd be great.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all lined up there. We had such a good time at the last raffle. I thought we should have another, and particularly around Thanksgiving would be fun, but I wanted to be a little bit more organized. So if you'd like, we're going to raffle off a turkey. It's turkey time. So what I'd like to do is for people to let me know through my email, which is Kathleen_RSSLL, Russell with no vowels, RSSLL@yahoo.com, and let me know how many tickets you'd like to buy. 2 for $5 or 5 for $10. And so that I can organize and have your tickets ready and put in a hat. And then this Sunday before Thanksgiving, we'll do the raffle. And you just have to promise to make sure that whatever you pay, whatever amount that you pay for tickets, you make sure that it gets in your donation check to Reverend Maggie, to the church. And I'll pull the raffle again like we did the last time, and I'll deliver a turkey. That if you have one or you have plans to go somewhere else, you can always donate to a shelter or whatever, or you could just cook it and enjoy it. So that's totally up to you. So please email me if you want a ticket, and let me know how many and what amount, and just follow through on your promise to make that a donation for the church. So thank you very much. I look forward to having a turkey raffle.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kathy. Appreciate your thinking of this. And yes, Anetta's asking if you could put your email address in the chat, and also maybe include the ticket prices so people know how much that is. That'd be great. And I, again, am going to scroll so we can bless our boys. I am sure they are here. That's so funny. I don't know if it was Reuben or Josephine, but somebody's asking if they can pardon the turkey. I'll let Kathleen make that make that decision. I do see your beautiful boys behind you, Alonzo and Santiago, and I see Alex there. So we are going to bless our wonderful young men. Please join with me in doing that. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things. And we're always so glad to see your faces. Thanks for joining us. So with that, I am going to bow out so that Michael can lead us in the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
So as we go forward into this day, into this week, and into what some have called a new era, we know that we have a part to play. We know that peace on earth and peace in this nation is going to depend on us and our decisions to work for peace and for all that we wish to see in a new era. And let us remember that whatever our role is, whether or not we feel that we have a map forward, we can trust that we are never alone, and that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God. Thank all of you for joining us. And please do consider sticking around. We'll be having our hospitality hour in just 3 minutes. So wonderful to see you and have a lovely week.